here we are. I do by live streaming. It will be easier for me and I will lose less time. I promised I wrote in my website about sustain, appoggio and copertura. Well, I know sometimes that this is a great problem. The problem is that sometimes we go in the correct direction, meaning that we want first of all to develop enough sustain and then after to start using copertura and appoggio, and that's correct. It happens that you find persons, or I find persons, that can't use sustain correctly. Usually they come to me after many years, they are professionals and they have a great problem, they strain their voices, that they are in auditory deficit and many other questions about, and simply they can't find sustain. And they can't find, even with great trainings and with great trainers. So it is not a problem of vocal technique, it's a problem of structure. First point, what to do and from where does it come the problem? The problem in my experience is a problem of structure of a certain precise muscular chain. To explain all the muscular chain would be very, very long and probably useless. So I will just propose you some of the exercises that I invented and I use to make those person get over that stuck point. The stuck point has to be solved, without they would never have enough to have a career or to have a proper voice. Usually they strain a lot. It can be a little straining, it can be a great straining. Doesn't matter. Sustain must apply itself without copertura in a certain quantity of the extension in a very healthy system. So doesn't matter if they are professional, doesn't matter if they are beginners, doesn't matter the age. It is, we can work to obtain that. From that we will gain many other things. So usually, when you can't apply sustain, the muscular chain that has a problem, to me and to my experience and in my way of working, is in the opposite muscular chain. The opposite muscular chain is the one of copertura and appoggio. That's why usually they tend to put too much appoggio and too much copertura, and then to scream to have a good sound. Of course it doesn't work. At the same time they try to make, when they try to correct that, and they try to push a little more to make them some staccato that they can't do, and to obtain more nose quality. Inside I have here too much nose quality, not having sustain, so they will refuse that. And they will hate anybody with even a slight nose quality. When the problem will be solved, they come back balanced into their judgments. So after they will even like people with nose quality, because they will not have this over quality in themselves, even if outside you don't perceive it, because without sustain you can't perceive it, and without some elasticity you can't perceive it. You feel they're really all the time too much flat at the end, but inside it's different what they perceive, because they try to cover, they try to turn, they try to, and it doesn't work. It just pushes those kind of qualities inside their inside ear. After, they will not identify themselves with that, and they will be more happy with themselves, and so they will have a freedom of judgment. The freedom of judgment about some things, it gives all the time to us notions and notices and informations about who we have in front and this technical level. So some judgments are quite close and quite normal and quite physiological on a certain issue and on a certain level. So first exercise. The first exercise can seem quite fun. It is what I call the lacial taxi driver, that in Italian is tassista laziale, and I will write it as tassista laziale. I will show you in front. You have to get round and to work with that. I will control the, you can see me, no, not perfectly, so I will correct that a bit. That's it. Well, this is a way of walking, and I put myself quite straight. I put my feet 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 p.m., 10 of around clock, okay? From that, I'll make you see me on the other side. I'm really, really straight. I will not put my back down. I'll remain quite high, with the hips high. And I will block everything there. Even if this is slightly in front, it's correct. I put myself like that, should be correct to see me. 10, 2. The important thing is that you're not too wide into your feet, not too wide, not too close. Just that little hips distance. And when it's correct, can be slightly more or slightly less for some of you. You will perceive a little tension in here, on the both sides. To be sure, you get down on your knees, you come back high. You don't come back high just with the legs, you come back thinking of that coming high. And coming up, you will perceive that you are really round into the back, inside, not outside. Inside, the impression will be greater than on the outside. You just remain like that, and you have to walk thinking of your legs, not walking, but pushing in diagonals, without moving the hips, without moving the chest. You put your hands there, yeah, it's funny, I know, it's quite weird, and you go. And I get round, you will see me back, coming back, and I go, and I go, and I push. And I don't use my feet, I just use my legs pushing, pushing, pushing. Make you on this side. Pushing, 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 pushing. And again on that. And it is pushing, pushing, pushing. I don't move all the legs. You will see from there, perhaps you will have enough light. It is a stunk and stunk. Never that. I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that. I'm really using just my leg. Block the hips, and it is diagonal, 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 diagonal. You can do quite a little of that. I tell you nothing, you do that, then you relax. After you have relaxed, you do some soffietti. You find it in the tutorials. Then wait. Then you do lama chu. Do you remember lama chu? You have the tutorial also. After the lama chu, you do back this one, lateral taxi driver. After the lateral taxi driver, you do a little slight vocalization of this kind. I start for a female voice from A under the C central. For a man, you start from a D under the C central. I don't need max extension, a lot of extension. I just need a certain kind of gymnastic. And this is this one. My, and you go up till my, ma. My, ma. And truly connecting, it is on purpose. So even if you go slightly out of pitch as me, you don't mind at all, because we are not working on pitch, we're working on muscles. also do that after or at the same, instead of this one, you do this one that is the same but with different syllable. Mia, 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 my, ma. Now I changed. I decided this. You can't do this. Mia, mia, mia. Mia, 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 me. And you change every time in the coming back. Mia, 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 my, ma. Mia, 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 my, ma. Mia, 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 my. If you're a light soprano, or you don't want to do pop strictly, you start from here, with the first from D. My, mom. My, mom. In you will feel that. In me, it's not good the sound, but I always say don't really care about my sound. My sound is not my sound. If you look in my biography, you will see that I have a inflammation problem, so I can't sing anymore. But doesn't mean that I can't give for you a gesture that is useful. So trust my gesture and trust the fact that your body will perceive my gesture more than my sound. So my sound is really not important because I'm put in positions for light sopranos. So my sound is what can be my sound while I'm doing that with your gesture. Try to find the gesture. With that, you will perceive that something into your throat is touching closing. Let this close. Let this go really closing, because the concept of sustain is to close something and to put some stretching and some true movement of the larynx and of the throat with the correct breathing. So we don't have to remain stiff to have a downward larynx, because a lower larynx can be interesting, but when you have a movement in the larynx, when you can't really sustain, you have a stiffness, and you have something that can't find a way to take away this stiffness. Sometimes it's really correct, it's in the larynx, or you can find it in the larynx, but it doesn't depend usually from the larynx. It does depend from other parts. Second, physical exercises. This is quite strange. You must do really with great attention. It's just some rounds with the knee, with the point of your knee. You don't have to, it comes from this exercise. That is an exercise I learned in theatre school to open the hips. You can do the same 8 there. But I changed it because I want to strictly work on something very precise. And this very precise will, with the other, start giving some freedom to your sustain. So this is the concept. The concept is to unblock the part that makes your sustain not useful, and at the same time to unblock the part that gets stiff when you start using sustain. They work one depending to the other. That's the trick in the voice. I will do a long tutorial and explanation on that, because this is a point that I find many professionals, many also voice teachers, that they don't have clear that relation. They just want to work with one or with the other, and they don't see that when one does work in a certain way, will indirectly put the way of working of the other one. They are related, and because everything is related. So you can't just work on one and then take away the thinking and the consequences on the other parts. Not just because we are one body and this becomes stronger, but because there are some relations very precise of how they must be long, how they must be short, how they must be related, and how they have to work before one and then the other, and then again this one, and then again that one. And the purpose on the first side was to work on this one. They are really very precise. If we don't respect those things precise, we will not have results. And that's probably why you find in my class more results than usually we find. Because I found those exercises at the same time. I found that they are so strictly related that it is all the time playing with one, the other the larynx, the other the larynx. Never just with one. So, we will do those 8 just horizontal and just with the knee. And to be sure that we start correctly, we always start into the other knee and pushing the other knee. It will be basically around in front and then around back, like that. That, and then that, and then that, and then that. Then we will change. So, to be sure I'm making a round, I will not go straight. I will try to take away my knee on the side. Tunk. And then I do this very, very, very little round till the end. And then I push back. And I do that. Round, 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 and I get back. From that side. Before in front, I push into the knee. I push, I push, I push, I push, I get round, 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 round. I don't use the big muscles. And I get back. And then I get back. The round back. It is just the knee. The sensation is that you don't have the other part of your leg anymore. Yeah, it's quite scary. And you do again, in front. And you get back all the way around. And back. And you do on the other side. I do fastly in front, get into, and I get round, 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 and round, and back. I don't use other kinds of muscles, and I get back, and in front again. It will be very small. Doesn't matter. One of the big mistakes, when you arrive there, you get in diagonal. When you arrive there, you go on, you go on. Will be really difficult for many of you, sorry. And then again front. In front there, normally you get there, and then you open. If you open, it's finished. I get there, I don't open. I go on with this little circle. And those are the first 2. I will do it with some others. Then you try sustain. You try sustain, I will make a tutorial how to try sustain. Have a good day.